Welcome to another session of Crypto Spotlight series. I hope you're enjoying the bullish sentiment. Uh, ETF just got listed. US mainstream institutions can finally buy into the crypto market
Yeah.
in a way that there is no consequences that they have to deal with, right? I I hope only positive, considering the way Bitcoin's price has been skyrocketing. So I hope you're well placed to bank on the upside because me and Venkatesh for sure are. Today, we have another winning team's representative, another go-getter CEO here with us. A very warm welcome, Venkatesh, the founder of Pontoon Finance. Pontoon Finance has been doing some amazing work. I've been in touch with the team myself. They're gaining incredible attention. I think specifically, some of that has come from Tim Draper's Draper Dragon Fund itself, but there are all star backers that Venkatesh is, kind of garnering in terms of attention, in terms of high quality, stuff that they've been pushing on the technology, and the vision seems high quality. So today we'll be talking to him, understanding what he's doing, where he's coming from. So Venkatesh, welcome. So glad to have you here with us.
Thank you very much, Akshay, and it brings a pleasure to me even here as well.
Venkatesh, what's going on? You're outshining everyone wherever you go, whatever you do. Tell us what's happening at your end.
Pretty much happening. A lot of things are happening at the back end because we are currently nearing to our IHO, which is like 28th of October, which is like 7 days from now. A lot of stuffs are happening, marketing strategies. We are running a Gleam contest. IHO is nearing, and we have other documentations that have been placed. Talking to multiple marketing agencies in terms of PR releases. We recently released our PR in terms of the fundraise completion as well. So yeah, that brings us to a very close in terms of the IHO near, and then we're also speaking about with multiple exchanges to get the listed done. So yeah, multiple things in terms of the announcement will be coming out soon, like tomorrow. You can expect it on Monday, and yeah, it goes on. It's a busy
Perfect. I can.
8 to 10 days, I can say. Yeah.
I was exactly expecting this energy from your answer. So great to hear that. Why don't you tell us, a bit about your background? So, let's keep it a little informal at first. We'd like to learn about where you're coming from, a bit personally, who is Venkatesh and what's his mission?
Okay, so I'm basically from an IT background. Served in the IT industry for last 14 plus years, I can say. Served multiple companies like famous players like Dell, EMC, Wipro, Cognizant, Capgemini, with acting as a role for data center activities and data center management, managing the entire data center stuff. With that, in 2017, I got a chance to enter crypto through one of my close associate with me, and then that's how my crypto journey started altogether. So it's started like a small time trader, I can say. Like, you trade in, you come in, you do the things like, okay, hey, this particular protocol is giving me such option, this protocol is giving me such an option. I'm not a big fan earlier in terms of the shares, anyways. But again, after entering into the crypto, it made me to think a lot deeper and understand how does this works, and that's where I'm here today. So initially, it was like a first shot that given at 2017 with a small trade trader, and then moved ahead as a investor. As in, I proceed further in terms of the crypto industry again with my close associate as well, and then it took me to build up Pontoon as a co-founder. Yeah, that's where the currently the standpoint is.
Yeah, and I think then there are about 3.5 crore people that can relate to you directly because if you've I don't know if you've read that just in India there are over 10 crore wallets.
Yeah.
But if you look at the numbers for DMAT, there are only 6.5 crore people that have DMAT accounts,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
yes.
I'm sure there are, not only those, if there's a collision, which there will be, right? But there are definitely a little over 3.5 crore people that are, in the same space. They believe more in the crypto space than they do in the real stock market.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Even if you're college going days, right? I mean, nowadays the college going people as well. Everybody says, "Speak up. Hey, what's your wallet number? I need to transfer USD to BTC. What's the Bitcoin ranging about? Hey, so like all time I have." I mean, even a smaller person who is into the colleges, like 12th or 13th maximum to the say he's been able to understand and evolve into the new technology which is crypto, and that's how
Mhm.
everybody needs to get evolved in the current market situation, and that's how you tend to grow yourself and also dominate the things. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So I think, many would relate to you. So we have done that first bit right when we understand if we have that relatability or a common background. But moving from a little personal to the professional, what inspired you to start Pontoon Finance? What is the problem that you're looking to solve through this amazing
I
initiative?
mean, I mean, if I say this, I mean, people will be able to correlate to their data center activity stuff. Yeah, long
Mm-hmm,
back in like say 2019, I was in US for one of the migration activities. So that's how the actual journey of Pontoon started. I can say, like we were migrating a couple of servers, hardwares, and other stuff back then, and then we need to have a virtualization setup being performed, and that's how the concept of pontoon came into picture in terms of virtualizing the things which in we exactly call it like a liquidity mirror protocol. That means you have an asset on either of the sides, and that's how your pontoon going to solve the majority of the problem in terms of fragmentation, the composability, and the overall it's in a complete trustless way, and there is no need of any centralized exchange in place in between to perform the things. So it's as good as like you are keeping up the things, you are doing up the things in a virtual based condition, and you have an active activity that's running upon at a backend, and that's how
mm-hmm.
pontoon evolved.
Yeah, and so I think just for everyone to understand, we're talking about the decentralized finance space wherein we are very fortunate to have seen unlike the days of creation of Swift, we are very fortunate to see the layering or
Yeah.
the basic rails being laid upon, right? Basic rails. We have an Indian champion that's kind of formed the highway over the basic rails, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is these rails are used for tokens to travel from one node to another,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But while we're doing this, we see that there are some rails that are more garnering more attention than the others. The movement of tokens, while it's easy on many protocols, it is happening at a high frequency only on some, right? And because of that, the crowd is restricted, let's say, on some roads, and some roads are completely empty, whereas there is demand for people to come and buy stuff there as well or do transactions there. But unfortunately they don't have the other side
Yes.
looking to accept the transaction. So
Yes.
in that manner, you have you have some people desiring to transact, but there is no receivers on that, and hence there's a gap in terms of what we call this to and fro, is liquidity,
Yeah.
right? And hence, if you see various pockets have fragments of activity happening, right? I'll let you, Venkatesh, take it from here, because I know you have some big picture vision around the key facets of the problem that then arises. So what is it that you know contributes to this fragmentation? One. Two, why does this need to be connected? Why can't we, is there a reason for the whole ecosystem to connect here?
Yeah, got it. So in the current ecosystem, right, that we are in currently, we have many or multiple protocols that are available in the market with the present ecosystem. But
Mm-hmm,
we need to understand like in-depth analysis, like whether we have all the aspects in a protocol that can contribute towards the minimizing the causes or that we are currently facing the concerns and the issues. One of the major concerns that we are currently facing in is the composability and the fragmentation part. And
mm-hmm,
why so? The reason behind is that we have multiple tokens in the current system, but everything is being scattered across in multiple various chains. So
yep,
that brings like your tokens are there available with you, but it's in spread across the blockchains. And we at Pontoon, we are trying to mitigate that and bring it at one platform so that we are giving multiple services. The fragmentation issue can be defragmented. For an example, how are we achieving this kind of fragmentation? I mean, defragmentation is that I, as a user, provide liquidity on one of the chain. For an example, Ethereum. and there is a user B who holds the same amount of tokens or same kind of tokens, for an example USDT on the BSC side.
Hmm.
So he needs to have a swap performed from Ethereum to BSC side. Now, Ethereum being the gas cost being very high, people always come back to the BSC side of it in order to perform the transaction. Now, in order to
Hmm.
perform a swap, you have multiple ways, but again, are you getting at a cheaper cost? No. Are we getting it completely decentralized way? No. There is always a third party involved wherein it will not actually solves the exact DeFi meaning. So in order to solve
Hmm.
that exact DeFi meaning, we are opening something called as a pontoon, wherein user comes in, provide a liquidity on either side of the bridge. There is a user who comes in for a swap action, and the swap mechanism happens through this pontoon bridge. And one side, the liquidity gets locked, the other side, the liquidity gets opened up and provides the tokens to the user. In this way, we are eliminating the need of a centralized exchange. So in this way also, we are gathering the overall tokens which are scattered among the ecosystem to one place.
Absolutely. And then we keep imagining, I think in a lot of ways centralized exchanges are the gateway to Web3.
Yeah.
But should it be centralized really, that enables actions for us? Because that seems kind of ironical in a lot of ways, right? But then.
I mean, that seems to be a little bit ironically. Yeah, as I said, right? Like, see, at Pontoon, we never mint or create any synthetic assets. So
Mhm.
that's the major rule. So we have a mechanism which is called lock and unlock. There is no mechanism called as lock or burn or lock
Mhm.
or unlock and burn option. So this eliminates the complete need of that. And this is how we are trying to achieve it. And how do we attract users to provide liquidity? We have an incentivization model that's in, and we have 35% dedicated from the overall tokenomics to provide to the entire community as in a rewards. And also apart from this, a portion of the transaction fees is also dedicated to them. So this is how the overall fragmentation issue has been resolved through the help of Pontoon. And coming back onto the composability, we everybody heard of the money legos. So money legos is currently one major thing that's been like held back, held in, going out, going in, and coming in. So this is a kind of a structure that we have built in Pontoon. Like, hey, you provide me a token on one side of an asset, I'll give you the token on other side of the asset. That eliminates the majority of the needs. And today we have multiple bridges or multiple protocol that supports bridges, but not all the protocols supports the stable coins plus the existing native coins. In Pontoon, we eliminate that and we are one step ahead in order to achieve this. We also support stablecoin. On the way further, we also support the native coins which are available across the blockchains. Since we are EVM compatible, we are going on with EVL compatible blockchains. That's how the composability concern is being resolved.
Absolutely. Then, let me step back a little. This seems to be a little philosophical in nature as a question, but you'd be the perfect, person or perfect perspective on this particular one. When we look at various, various protocols, we see, they're definitely, one too many.
Mhm. Yeah,
In a lot of ways. But we do still believe that they're going to be 5 or 6, and we can see real activity happening at least on 12 or 15. But if convergence happens in the future, we do believe that there are going to be 5 or 6 of these, right? So what is your take on this? Do you see clear winners there, or do you
yeah,
agree
I
that
mean,
there's going to be
I
multiple?
absolutely see a clear winner here. See, I mean, we are going into the multiple things, not only the fragmentation issue and the composability issue. We also have other features of Pontoon where it can be a distinguished feature from a competitor's perspective. We are
Hmm.
going through a validators which is built on a decentralized section, and that's how we eliminate some of the other aspects from a competitor's perspective.
Absolutely. No, I was actually referring to more about, the bridging solution at scale would be required more if there are, competitor protocols, not, bridges, right? So in that case, for example, in Ethereum or Phantom, Solana, BSC, I believe these will definitely exist. And until the point there are at least 5 or 6, something like Pontoon is going to always, capture value or create value, to be really
Absolutely.
honest.
Absolutely. We will go minimum of 8 chains, which is EVM compatible, and then later on we'll go into non-EVM compatible chains.
Okay, so then I'm guessing as an expert, you believe that there are going to be at least 8 to 10, protocols that will survive even if convergence happens over
Yes,
time.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then, interestingly, you spoke about bridges and, bridging solutions, right? Though I feel, when we look at, so for example, when we look at wallets, right, we look at MetaMask and we see, how much the MetaMask team could do to improve, right? And hence presents opportunities not only within the confines of a single protocol, like probably a Solana, but also, that helps us look at, multi chain ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, I think I was looking at understanding whether, there would be multiple ways to bridging the fragmentation problem, and if yes, how do we see what, or how do you see there being a relevance in different solutions, right? For example, there's hop protocol, which you've also appreciated in one of your writings, right? But I would just like to get a perspective on how do you see the whole movement panning out.
I mean, yeah, it's absolutely coming out great when I say pontoons. Like for an example, there are even though there are multiple aspects with the other protocols as well, but again, there is
Hmm.
there is like interoperability and the vice versa always matters. In pontoon,
Absolutely.
in pontoon, what we are doing is that when we go on minimum of 8 to 10 chains, which is EVM compatible, right? From
Hmm.
Ethereum, it can push itself to any of the 9 chains. Plus, from any of the 9 chains, it can again come back to Ethereum. So that's how
Exactly.
the interoperability and the vice versa mechanism that we have built across. So we'll be releasing shortly the incentivized testnet during our TGE time, and that's how people will be aware like what exactly is happening with the pontoon with the incentivized testnet.
Absolutely. And then also there seems to be this problem of privacy, right? If a random bridge is being created, let's say, between, Zilliqa and Ethereum, right? There seems to be, ways to see what real activity is happening without the want of it really being shown, right? And is there an aspect of Pontoon that enables a solution for that problem?
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, right? See that's where the centralized exchange is not coming up with Pontoon. So
Hmm.
that's one thing when I mean, I being an end user, I don't really care about whether it's been decentralized or centralized. But a true meaning of DeFi comes into picture when a protocol is actually a complete DeFi. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's how we are built upon. Yeah.
Absolutely, and then there seems to be, that way wherein, there is less friction, because if you look at, how things are happening in terms of these bridging environments, we see it, different wallets being brought upon, right? Do you intend to have that same kind of, additional wallet ecosystem? Is there a way for having order books to resolve that, or what do
No,
you
we,
see?
we don't we don't go with an order books kind of a mechanism. We always go with a
Hmm.
wallet. And yes,
Hmm.
we have been currently partnering with multiple of other wallet as well. But everything will be announced in laterly, as and when we complete the TG and the incentivized testnet launch.
Yeah, yeah. So without Venkatesh officially speaking about it, there seems to be definitely, some attempt there in terms of reducing friction, Venkatesh. So we're gonna look, a little deeper than what you give us, perks of being a knowledge center in some way.
No, no, no,
So
no.
okay.
Actually, see, the thing is that we are kind of an NDA with our partnerships until because we are not officially being launched. So I don't want to keep anything out with this conversation, which makes something in a different situation. So yeah, that's what I said. We be announcing all the things to our official platform, and yes, we are partnering with multiple wallets to bring it together and build attraction.
Awesome, awesome. So there then seems to be ways Web3 will improve with Pontoon Finance and solutions probably inspired by Venkatesh, you and your team's work. But again, getting back to it, you mentioned Venkatesh about composability. I remember, the loot NFT hype, right? And in some ways, the floor price still seems to be very high, so the hype is retained. But
Yeah.
you know how loot NFT has this way wherein there's a risk list a random bunch of texts that you write, but people could build over those lists, right? And
Yes.
that sort of, and those lists on let's say on the road being loot NFT text, and then there being another highway on top of built on top of that road. Do you think that sort of composability is what we're looking at, or to the layman in me, please try and tell me, what does composability really mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's on the both the sides of the aspect. For an
Hmm.
example, in a layman language, if I wanted to say, for an example, now we have a bridge that can transfer an asset. Okay,
Hmm.
do we have a bridge in place that transfers the asset and also swaps your tokens at one click?
Hmm.
That's your composability. I mean, you are building a smart contract in such a way where it can perform multiple actions at one go,
Hmm.
irrespective of whether it's on the same chain or whether it's on a different chain. That's your composability. I mean, for the best example, the money Legos. The money Legos is what we are trying to achieve it here. I mean, today we have exchanges which is built across multiple platforms on Ethereum, on BSC, or on multiple other chains. But
Yep.
we have the same kind of strategy if I try to bridge a token between Ethereum and Polygon, and at Polygon, will that token be valued or can be swapped is a question mark. And if yes, then it's your composability. That means you're trying to mitigate the risk aspect and also the slippage and also the other aspects which has been related to that particular blockchain. That's how Pontoon is bringing a composability structure.
Interesting. And then slippage also happens at multiple levels when you're looking at buying, huge chunks of any particular token, right? So for example, the news of Bitcoin being listed, and institutions coming in with interest. I think in the future we'll see high volume transactions happening even
Yes.
more, right?
Yeah.
And then slippage becomes so much more important in that aspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any attempt in solving that will sort of create a lot of value for
Yes, yes,
high
absolutely,
value transactions.
absolutely, absolutely. So, how are we trying to get the slippage with a minimal thing? Is like when a user provides a liquidity, right? That's how
Hmm.
your slippage is actually being completely reduced because
Hmm.
you're not getting involved with any other aspects with that liquidity. You're only trying to do a defragmentation with the help of that. For an example, if I have 100 tokens that has been placed as a liquidity, because at Pontoon we do a liquidity with a single staking token based. I mean, when I say
Hmm.
it's not a pairing one, it's a single staking based. So with
Hmm.
this, if a user comes in for a swap action of USDT or USDC, that means I'm able to give him USDC or USDT on the other side of the aspect. If by any chance, if he's not having the amount that has been required or the token that has been required on the either side of that, we will try to push it from Ethereum to the either side of the bridge so that we have a very less slippage in picture. That's how
Absolutely.
we are trying to mitigate the things.
No, that seems really impactful.
Yeah.
Um, so looking into some of the other things. For example, one thing, and I don't know if directly this relates to uh, you know your vision or not, but sometimes what we see is, for example, in the case of mining, what we were seeing was concentration of mining power with certain key stakeholders. So do you see centralization still could happen where people, let's say, for example, I know Pontoon Finance is going to be super valuable in the future. If I end up over time buying a lot of Pontoon tokens, so Pontoon has Toon tokens,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to get into why Pontoon and why Toon, because both are very catchy as well, Venkatesh. But uh, you know just for the sake of this question, do you see centralization still arising if people like me accrue a lot of Toon tokens in the future?
No, no, that is completely eliminated by the proof of stake. So
Okay.
we have a mechanism which is called proof of stake, wherein the maximum number of Toon token holders becomes a validator, and you have to pass on the conscious mechanism, and that's how we eliminate a portion or in any term of a bug rated. Once all the persons approves with a 12 commit, that's how you proceed further. It's completely work on the proof of stake mechanism.
So seems like Pontoon Finance team has thought it through.
No, we
Okay,
want
so, so
we want to bring that feature as well as an added advantage because we are going it completely DeFi, right? Using a
mhm.
centralized validator can be of anything. I mean, it can be a trust issue or it can be any other thing. So, getting us on a decentralized way, this is the way forward that we have thought, and it will be obviously implemented in coming Q4.
Sure, sure. And then, let's understand where does the name Pontoon and Toon token comes from. I'm really inquisitive.
I mean, Pontoon is nothing but bridge in simple.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's like a kind of a flamboyancy that is been used to derive earlier kind of a bridges wherein you have the bamboo sticks made out of it and you have a rope tied of it for any reason. I mean, nothing used to happen to those bridges in the olden days, irrespective of whether it tides or whatever is the situation. So you have that flamboyancy in the bridge, which allows you to pass on anything that comes in. So pontoon
Hmm.
is been the name given for it is because of that. We have a flamboyancy. If anything comes in, we pass it on to a different levels or different blockchains in terms of token transfers. That's how the pontoon name came into picture. And obviously, tune is something like a catchy one. I had that pontoon tune, so tune came into picture. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that catchy element to the whole thing, and solving a serious problem, but being able to relate to the catchy
I,
terminology or way of storytelling is a superpower that might definitely come in handy in times to come. Okay, so we have a question from one of our members. So Vagish asked us, how does Pontoon perform against centralized systems in case of scalability?
currently, as I said, right. I mean, we are going only with the evolution of the EVM chains. So we are
Mm-hmm.
also going like a side chain in future. That is what the plan we are in terms of the scalability.
Mm-hmm. Sure, sure. And then also there is another question by Rashi who wants to ask, with so many interesting projects coming around, how do you plan to attract more customers?
It's a tricky question again. Yeah. So whenever there is a actual product being built, demonstrated, and used by the users, right? That's how
Mm-hmm.
the strategy becomes more in terms of getting the things used. I mean, whenever the user comes in, users for that activity, user feels that we have a better UI interface and also a better options when compared to other competitors. Obviously, pulling the users is the main concern here, but yes, we are trying to do maximum to achieve them. We are also incentivizing it, as I said earlier. So that's the one way of getting into the customer relationship or the user relationship, I can say.
Interesting. Okay, so we have fun and engaging round of questions, which sort of goes away. I know we're solving a very deep problem here, but I still want to keep everyone engaged. So uh, think of it as a rapid fire round.
Yeah.
Whatever first thing comes to your mind. All right. So who's your idol right now in the world?
Okay, from a crypto point, I believe I can say one of my close associated who made me entered in. I don't want to take his name personally.
I
So,
know.
apart from that, if you say who is your best person, that yeah, I can say it will be myself again. Yeah,
Okay, all right. Okay, so which podcast or blog do you keep yourself updated with?
I mean, I go through multiple blogs every now and then. Yeah. What makes me interesting is that how exactly the crypto is getting evolved as and when the new technologies and the techniques are coming in. So
Hmm.
that's one main criteria along with the security aspects of it. How exactly are
Absolutely.
we doing and what are the things that can be achieved in order to mitigate the issues that are currently happening. And that's how I keep myself integrated in terms of the technical aspects, I can say.
I'd quickly like to jump in. I like, these weekly sessions that are kind of these webinars or podcasts by something called as Portal Asset Management, right? Happens on LinkedIn, but super powerful for crypto listeners. So, would recommend that from my end. No, not trying to sell anything here, but the idea is I follow it. So
No, I
probably,
go through multiple blogs on daily basis.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
same
nothing
here,
but as
same
a
here.
one, two, three that you can pick it up.
Exactly.
Any technical documentation, right? I mean, I'm from a IT background with a technical knowledge, so I always go up with an IT. kind of a thing, in order to read the documentation, get the things done, and be very much specific up to the point. And that's how you are doing
Exactly.
things.
Exactly. So fragmented pieces of knowledge is also being gathered upon, just to keep himself updated in Venkatesh's case. Yeah. So, any influencers you like, not just in the tech world, but even outside, who you personally follow?
Well, I follow a lot of persons, but to
Nobody comes to your mind clearly.
no, it's not about nobody comes to my mind. I mean, there are a lot of persons who I personally believe in. I mean, they have achieved the major scales. Apart from that, from an overall perspective, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I always go up with APJ sir.
Okay. Oh, like, yeah, known for his humbleness, known for his generosity,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So definitely, definitely, a clear, I would say, high quality choice there, Venkatesh. Okay, so DEX or centralized exchange, which one would you prefer, uh, or which one are you using
I
the
mean,
most?
Dex to be frank enough, because I mean, see, we need to get evolved as and when we get evolved with the different technologies that are around us. So yeah, going into centralized again, way back, right? It doesn't makes you or brings you into the same kind of situation. I mean, you're not a true defi, I can say. In order to be a
Mhm.
true defi, you have to go up, start up the things, search on the things, do the things, and then comes up. That's how. So I believe in defi, I can say.
Sure. Okay. Apart from Toon tokens, if you were to put all your money in one token, which one will it be? Apart from Toon token.
Well, I can well, I can say I would go with ETH.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh, sure. I think the most powerful developer ecosystem that has yet been created. I'm really looking forward to them solving, the problem of traffic. And I believe, even if it does not get solved on layer one, in
I
a
mean,
beacon
yeah,
chain and then multiple chains getting powered through the beacon chain. But I do believe that, Polygon and other layer two solutions are definitely going to come in handy, even if that does not happen.
there are other multiple side chains as well which are currently being developed. So that boosts most of the energy to the Ethereum chain as well. So yeah,
Absolutely. Optimism, Arbitrum, many, many of those, right?
yeah, yeah.
Sure. So, any, ways that you would recommend people to self-motivate themselves?
Not a kind of that. No.
Okay, okay. So yeah. So I think I'm one who goes on to view videos very often from YouTube channels. I just sometimes write motivational videos, and there's some amazing stuff that comes across. The idea is to just keep yourself pumped, right? So these are some ways that I keep myself on the edge, on my toes, performing. Okay, so that was enough of the fireside round. I would give you, Venkatesh, you've taken time, amongst us, crazy schedule. So I would like you to share two bits about how can the community get involved? Is there any ask for the community from your end?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So as I said earlier, we are nearing to the launch of our IHO, which is for Pontoon through Outcross, and which is
Hmm.
on 28th of October. So all the announcements have been made to our official announcement channel, which I'll be sharing it over the link. Along with that, we also have currently the Gleam contest that's been running in terms of whatever the things that has to be happen. I mean, in terms of the marketing strategy wise. So with that said, I would like to participate users to participate in the Gleam contest, earn rewards, and get utilized of the Pontoon, because we are releasing shortly the incentivized testnet. With that, users will be having an interaction more in terms of the community. Apart from that, once we launch the incentivized testnet, we are also going for a big bounty programs. So any person who comes in, plays with the protocol and identifies a bug will be also awarded. So yeah, it's a kind of technical aspects plus a community engagement that we are doing in currently.
And we'll share links to all these so that you can engage as a community member. And then there's something attractive that's happening for the whole ecosystem, and we should definitely support it.
Yeah.
One last question from, I mean, there are three or four really, Venkatesh. But I know you came in with a limited time, so let this be the last one. Will we see future L1 protocols with inherent cross-chain solutions included in them? Oh, that's a deep question, Venkatesh.
Will we see a future L1 protocols with inherent cross-chain solutions included in them? Well, I mean, yeah, this can be a possible option, but in the current situation, right, or the current ecosystem, we are already way ahead of what the question has been asked upon. So if you
Mhm.
want to go with L1 chains, even that's a compatible one. But again, we don't know tomorrow what's coming up. We are currently in a Web3 interface. We don't know tomorrow. Web4 also comes in, wherein your L1 protocols even won't support and altogether. So depending upon the situation, an act has to be taken, and that's how I can say.
Yeah, that sounds really deep. Okay, so I am sure we cannot take another question, but everyone will share the links for you to interact. None of what we said is an investment advice. So do your own research when you're thinking of investing in anything in the crypto space. The market is in a crazy bullish sentiment, so I hope you're well placed to enjoy the music while it still lasts. I'm bullish on Bitcoin since like 5 6 years, so I think another, it's going to keep, people are going to keep coming and singing to us, and we're going to keep enjoying the music. So for me, I'm all in. We'll let you decide whether you want to be all in on two tokens or not. Thank you again, Venkatesh, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and knowing you for a bit, supporting you on the sides. I believe, I'm in a good place alongside you.
Thanks, Akshay. Thanks, community. Yeah.
Bye bye. Do check out, Toon Tokens. Do, support Pontoon Finance's initiatives, and yeah, keep tuning into our various initiatives. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye.